Welcome, everyone, to episode 1 of the Super Lounge Arcade Podcast. I'm Willie, and he's
Jimbo.
And today we're going to talk about the latest announcement from Konami, the Super TurboGrafx 16 Mini. It's not super.
Oh, it's called the Super TurboGrafx?
Wow. I got super on the brain, man.
Well, we should tell them what the acronym for our new podcast is, in case they didn't catch it.
Yeah, it's called SLAP.
SLAP. And that's because we're gonna slap some nerd knowledge into your face. Like, we're just gonna give it straight to you. Like other podcasts are like, hey, we're here to talk about this. We're just like, no, here's the information. There. It's in your head. It's like the Matrix when Keanu Reeves makes up when he's like, I know Kung Fu. It's like you just wake up with it after you're done with this podcast. So like, dude, I know about the TurboGrafx now. So anyways, continue, Willie.
Anyway, well, at the latest E3, Konami announced the release of the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. And it's going to come with a few built-in games. We're hoping it's going to have a whole lot more than the 6 that they announced. But the games they've announced for it is R-Type, which that's a pretty fun shooter. I like R-Type.
Yes.
How do you pronounce this? Yeez or Wise? Ease. Ease Book 1 and Book 2, which is a CD game.
Yes. So that opens the door to CD games. That's very important.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yes.
New Adventure Island, Ninja Spirit, Alien Crush, and Dungeon Explorer. Pretty cool. Of course, the Japanese version, they're going to be getting Bonk's Adventure, Dracula X, which I love Dracula X. That's a great game.
Or as they call it, Rondo of Blood, which technically is a different game from Dracula X. They're kind of kissing cousins, but Rondo's a little more hardcore.
Yes. The Kung Fu China Warrior. Of course, they're getting Ease 1 and 2. Ease. Superstar Soldier and Dungeon Explorer as well.
Yep.
They're pretty cool. Now, we're hoping they're going to add a whole lot more to this library. With so many games that's owned now by Konami, they got a large library to pull from. So, Jimbo and I, we're going to talk about what we think, what 5 additional games we would like to see added each. So, it'll be another 10 games added to this system.
Yep. We got a lot to go over because Konami, like Willie was saying, Konami owns Hudson Soft. They bought it way back when. And the only thing really that they've done with the Hudson library, just as a little side note, the latest Bomberman game was the first Konami Hudson Soft title, because the previous one, Bomberman Battlefest on Xbox Live, was still technically a Hudson Soft game, even though Konami owned them. So if you look at the new Bomberman game, even though that's a Hudson Soft title, there's no Hudson Soft logo anywhere. It's just straight Konami. And for the record, they knocked it out of the park on that one. This is from the world's self-described world's biggest Bomberman nerd. Perfect. So that gave me a lot of faith. It's like they might be able to handle Hudson Soft titles. I was like, now we just need New Adventure Island. Now we need new Bonk game. Like, just all those doors get open. I'm like, we can do a whole shared universe. So, but yes, we're here to talk about basically five games each that we think should be on the list. And just for the record, guys, kind of preface this here. If I'm hoping they don't play this card, but if Konami tries to pull the, there's only so much space, blah, 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 blah card. All right. Anyone who knows anything about flash memory knows that you can put the entire 138 game US release library on this thing without even breaking a sweat, because these games even the CD games are tiny compared to the amount of capacity that one of these things, even if it's just like an SD card, let's say it's a 32 gig, that's probably 4 or 5 times the amount of space you would need for that entire library. So Konami, if you're watching this, we're not stupid. Most of us are nerds. We understand how flash memory works. Don't use that excuse. It just it insults you, it insults us, and insults everybody. Don't do that. Don't pull it. If you can't do it for some legal reason, just say that. But that being said, since Konami owns the entire Hudson Soft library, Hudson Soft is basically responsible for about 85% of the awesome games across the platform on the TurboGrafx. So unlike Nintendo and Sega, who just owns a few of the good titles on their respective classic platforms, Konami is in a very, very good position here because with the acquisition of Hudson Soft, they basically got the keys to the kingdom. Like all the hits that you would want to see on this, like almost all of them, it's not going to cost them anything. There's not going to be no licensing fees or anything like that because it's all in-house. I'm so freaking turbo excited I can't even talk. So I see personally there is no reason the entire Hudson Soft catalog shouldn't be on this thing. I think if it's a Hudson game, put it on there. Period. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. And even if it only gets like there's like 5 people who know what that game is, that's 5 more people buying the console for a cost of 0. Why wouldn't you do that? Like, I don't know. But anyways, since we can't talk about, every Hudson Soft game that we want to come on, that we want to put on the system because that would take forever, we limited it to just 5 each. So this is Willie's show. This was his idea. I'm just along for the ride. We're going to let Willie kick things off. Willie, what is your first title?
My first title, of course, is going to be Bomberman.
Damn right.
We got to have Bomberman on this system.
Yes. It is a Konami / Hudson system, the only one ever made. Not having a Bomberman game would be the biggest mistake. That'd be like Nintendo not putting a Mario game on one of their systems. Yeah. This is their Mario. So, yeah. Okay, I agree.
Countless hours playing this game. I love this game today.
It is. That is a great game.
Very great game.
But I've got to one-up you on this.
Uh-oh.
There are 2 Bomberman games on this system in the US. There's that Bomberman, and there's Bomberman 93, which I should have grabbed because I actually own complete in box. Bomberman 93 is by no comparison the superior game between those 2. It is definitely the better game.
I forgot about that one.
If I had to pick, I want both of them. Don't get me wrong. I want all the bomber that you can throw on me. I want to bathe in it. I love Bomberman. But if I had to pick, Bomberman 93.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally forgot about Bomberman 93.
That's a good game, dude.
Yes,
it
is.
It's one of the best ones ever made, I think. So points for Bomberman, but I've got to raise the chips on that and say Bomberman 93 all the way.
Totally agree.
Okay. So are we ready for my first pick?
Yep. What's your first pick?
So good old Jimbo is actually going the franchise route on this one because it's like the games that I picked, I'm like, dude, if you're going to do one, why wouldn't you just do the whole series? Like, it's kind of stupid, to not do that. Like, much like the NES, the NES Classic, they didn't just put one Super Mario Brothers on there. They put 3 of them. Like, I see no reason why this would be any different. If you own the trilogy, throw it on there, dude. Okay. So I'm going to go with, and I apologize, I only own 2 out of these 3 games, but I'm going to go with the Bonk series. I understand that Japan is getting Bonk. That's cool. Over there, it's, what do they call it? Like Cave Boy. I always forget the name of this, like Super Cave Boy or something like that. Or BC Kid. Is that it? It's something like that. It's something prehistoric, like BC Kid. I don't know. It's got a different name. So it's only called Bonk in the US, which I really thought was strange that they were announcing that on the Japanese system. I'm like, they don't know what Bonk is. That's the Americanized version. So I'm like, whatever. And anyways, all right. Why wouldn't you put this on the US version when this was a huge seller in the US? This is one of the best selling TurboGrafx games. Like they bundled it and everything. Like, that and Keith Kerr. Like, no, this is like, if Bomberman is the Mario of this system, this is definitely Luigi. For sure. I might even argue that this is a contender for the Mario role of TurboGrafx. And if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you add Bonk's Revenge, which some people think is the better game? I disagree. I actually think the first one's the best. But the third one is good, or the second one is good. And if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you add the third game, which adds co-op? Bonk's Big Adventure. You can play as 2 Bonks, and like you can play as like gigantic Bonk, where he's like the size of the screen. They call it Bonk's Big Adventure. They aren't messing around with that. It's like, yeah, it's huge. It's like the biggest sprite I've ever seen. He's like a giant. He's like a freaking kaiju, which is amazing. So yeah, if you're gonna do one Bonk, just do all 3. Totally I mean, especially because number 3 is like a super expensive title. Like whether you get the Hue card or the CD game, that's like a $300 game. So all the sweat lords like me who don't own that, yeah. Yes, do the Bonk series, man. Come on, play your hits. You own them. There's no excuse not to have them on there. Do the Bonk series. Anyways, that's my number 1. What's your number 2? Wow, we just got into bathroom codes. What's Willie's number 2?
Well, I love arcade games, and one of the arcade ports to the TurboGrafx 16, of course, is Fantasy Zone.
Good one.
And I really enjoy Fantasy Zone in the arcade, and I really like it on the TurboGrafx 16 as well. This is one definitely be nice to have on that Mini when it comes out.
I agree. That's a good pick. Deep cut, too.
Deep cut.
It is. It's a deep cut. And so I know you can't really see this because the microphone is getting in the way, ladies and gents, but I am rocking my Hudson Soft shirt. I've been actually waiting for the right time just to break this one out, and I can't think of a better night than this. I mean, I know it's not Hudson Soft anymore. It's Konami, but whatever, man. I'm freaking B for life. That's how I roll with stuff, dude. I roll with the B. Okay, so that's your number 2, Fantasy Zone.
Fantasy Zone.
One of the first cute-em-ups.
Yes.
Yes, cute-em-ups are fun, dude.
Yes, they are.
It's very Japanese, but I like me some cute-em-ups. I think those translate pretty well. Okay, so we're ready for my number 2? I had a lot to eat today, so it's going to be a big number 2.
Big number 2.
I ate a lot of turbo. I'm on a turbo diet, let me tell you. Okay, so continuing with my thread of franchises. Again, if you're going to do one of these, there's no excuse to not do the entire franchise. And this one in particular, there's 3 total games for this platform, and one of them we did not get here in the US. The second one, we got the first and we got the third one. So that would be a huge added value. I'm sure it'll be on the PC Engine version because they already announced Superstar Soldier, which, yeah, okay, great. Give it to them, but give it to us too. So that would be the Superstar Soldier series. I apologize, I don't own the third entry, which we'll get to in just a second. So the first game, one of the best shooters ever made. And then we have Final Soldier, which was only released in Japan, which is the second entry. And this is the most beatable of all the 3 games because these games are stupid hard. Like, this is old school bullet hell, punch yourself in the face hard. I have never actually completed Superstar Soldier. I can get to the final stage. I've live streamed it here on RGL. The final stage of this is freaking insanity. Like, you just look at the amount of projectiles on a screen. You're like, how is any human being capable of processing this information? And then you have to fight every boss that you've played throughout the game in a row. You do a boss rush. And if you don't get the exact right guns that you need perfectly, it's basically impossible to finish it. It's a nightmare. And I don't know why I love it, but I do.
It's a good game.
I got to get it. So the third one is Soldier Blade, which again, I do not own. That is definitely a premium priced TurboGrafx 16 game. That's definitely on the list. Since I'm all sweaty, I'm all turboed up, and I got to get that one. I have played Soldier Blade. I actually played in a contest for that. And by the way, I won when I never even played the game before. And I beat the crap out of people who have. Because that's Starland, actually. I just sat down, bro, just like got in the zone. I was like, I got this crap. Boom. 3-minute freaking power rush and peace, y'all. So yeah, Soldier Blade is amazing. That is definitely the best in the series. It's the hardest, I think, based on what I played with it. But I'm just, once again, like the bonk thing. If you're going to do one, why wouldn't you do the whole series? It's just, it's stupid not to do all 3. Yeah. Throw in the trilogy. There's a lot of trilogies on this. Do it all. So that's my number 2. Numero Trace. Back to Willie.
Well, my number 3 pick, of course, a lot of people on my channel, Arcade USA, know I like.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Electronic pinball games.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to have Devil's Crush.
I agree with you on that.
On there,
it's better than Alien Crush. I like Alien Crush, but Devil's Crush is better. Is the better game.
This game I'm really addicted to. For a electronic pinball game. It's actually a really good game to play on the TurboGrafx 16.
It is. And there's all kinds of like satanic stuff on there that's like
awesome.
Man. And they're playing like
I like the dark, the big head in the screen that changes as you play the game. It's great. I love the sound effects and the music.
If Ronnie James Dio made a video pinball game, it would be that game.
Oh yeah.
It's like every time I hit something or hit a target, I keep waiting for him to like tell me like, you cannot see into the future. Like I keep waiting for that to happen. And it's just like, it's like, I'm so sorry, Mr. Ronnie James Dio. Please don't put a curse on me, So yeah, it's Devil's Crush, one of the most metal games ever made. It really is.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Like Aliens Crush is good. Devil's Crush is simply better.
Yes.
It's just that simple. So good pick on video pinball, like for real. A lot of people sleep on those because those games have kind of a cliche of being historically bad, and let's face it, there are a lot of bad ones, but
yeah,
not on the Turbo, dude. And there's more more pinball games between Alien Crush and Devil's Crush. There's ones beyond that, but we don't have enough time, like I said, to get into all of these, but there's a lot of really good video pinball games on this. There's a lot of good stuff. Speaking of which, perfect segue into my number 3. Okay, so they have announced Dungeon Explorer, which is good. That is a fantastic Turbo title, and it's one of the ones that actually doesn't cost very much if you want a physical copy. That's like a $30-ish game, and it's one of the best games on the system. Like, that's one of the really good games that doesn't cost a lot for some reason, I guess because there's a lot of copies out there. So my pick for number 3, if you're going to do the first one, why wouldn't you do the second one? It's the better game. Dungeon Explorer 1 is good. Dungeon Explorer 2, way better, because they took what they did with the first one, CD soundtrack, much better music, better graphics, bigger story, better weapons. It just takes what the first one did and just ramps it up, which is exactly what a good sequel should do. So again, very expensive game. So for the collectors out there like us, this putting this on the system will like basically save you $300 if you don't actually want to buy this game. This is an expensive game. This is my most expensive Turbo game. So now that we're on the subject of Dungeon Explorer, that leads me to a question which Konami has not answered yet, but I think I might know the solution. Dungeon Explorer is a 5-player game. It's one of only a few on the system that are 5 players. The other would be the Bomberman franchise, and I think one of the volleyball games. So they haven't announced an adapter for this yet for multiplayer. And if they make this a clone of the original system only has one controller port. So I'm sure they're probably going to do USB or whatever for the controllers, and they'll just add a second port, and it'll probably just be in the slot, where the original port was, which is fine. USB is skinny. So here's my prediction. And I hope I'm right, but unless Konami gives us support on this, we'll see. I think that they're going to basically do what happened on the Super Nintendo Classic when Nintendo released that. So they didn't release a multiplayer adapter, and one of the games on the Super NES Classic is 3 players. And they didn't release an adapter for it. So a company basically made an adapter that basically translates an old school Super Nintendo adapter into the modern, we'll call it the Wii U, kind of Class B thing. Mm-hmm. So you can basically take an old school Super Nintendo 5-player adapter, hook it into this thing, and then hook that into your Classic, and then you can just use Super Nintendo controllers. So for that one 3-player game, you can basically use that as your solution. But the catch is you got to pay like the $9 for the adapter, which is fine. It's just a little dongle that translates A to B. And then you got to have a Super Nintendo 5-player adapter. Like me, because I've got the Bomberman one because, I'm sweaty. What can I say? Looks like Bomberman's head. It's awesome. So, I have the US one we got, which is like this. It's like this big spread out thing. But dude, I have one that's like this, and it's in the shape of Bomberman's head. It's got his face on it. Like, why wouldn't you want that? So I think that's probably what's going to happen. Like Retrobit, or one of these other companies will just make a USB adapter. So if you want to hook up your Turbo Tap and rock 5 controllers, so if you're like a true sweat lord like me and you've got a closet full of spare Turbo controllers, party at Jimbo's house, man. 5-player Dungeon Explorer, got you covered, bro. But truthfully, I'm hoping Konami just takes the guesswork out of this for us and just gives us a little, like maybe they'll just do a USB hub or something, or say like you can just use a USB hub with this, then you just buy extra controllers. Because if you're going to go through the trouble of reaching Dungeon Explorer, the best part of that game is that it's 5 players.
Yeah.
And it's basically like Gauntlet meets Zelda. Like old school Legend of Zelda. Like that is a really good combination, dude. that is really good. Like even Nintendo didn't think of that. So that is a good game. And again, back to my point, if you're going to do number 1, why wouldn't you do number 2? It's the better game. You already own it. It says Hudson Soft right there on the front. It's in-house. Do it.
Bam.
Do it. That's my number 3. Back to you, Willie.
Well, now up to number 4. Well, my number 4 Spanish. is another another pinball game. Time Cruise.
Dude, I would have picked that one if you didn't. That's a good one.
I love this one. Yeah. What I like about Time Cruise is it's got some good pinball gameplay, but it has little mini games as well.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite little mini games in here to get like an extra ball, whatever, is the caveman mini golf or whatever it is. I love that mini game on this game here. It's awesome.
You're going deep. See, I'm playing all the AAA stuff, man. You're going like deep cuts, which is good. Which is like, you think it'd be the other way around, since like between the two of us, I'm definitely the sweatier turbo guy.
Yeah, because I came to the TurboGrafx scene much later.
Yeah,
you had it when you were a kid. I didn't buy one until about 2010 is when I got my first one. Yeah, and the only reason I bought that is because of the next game I'm going to talk about. But we'll do that after.
I know what that's going to happen. I know what that one is. Okay, so my next one, I think this goes absolutely without saying, and I'm hoping they can just give the finger to the rights and just say, like, you know, come at me, bro, if you want to sue us. I'm hoping we get the American and the Japanese version, and that would be the one and only Splatterhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Not including this would be the biggest mistake. It really would. I mean, that's like, you know, you're going to see like the Stones and like they don't play Satisfaction, and people are just like, really? Like, I mean, it's like, yeah, there's an expectation here. Konami, we want you to play the hits. This is probably one of the most beloved games on your system. It really is. You know, like, this is only on one platform, the TurboGrafx. It wasn't on anything else. Put this game out. You know, give us the US one with the red mask. Give us the Japanese one with the white mask where he looks like legit Jason Voorhees. I don't think Paramount's coming after you, man. Like, don't worry about it. They're just going to be like, dude, it's like a 30-year-old game. Who cares? You know, just do it. Just give us both versions of the game. It's a great freaking game. I still love playing it to this day. Old school hard. Just do it. It's like, it started like the combat horror franchise kind of thing. I mean, like truly revolutionary for its time. It's one of the first games I bought that actually had a warning on the front of it. Like, this game is not for the timid, or this game is not for, you know, children or cowards. And I'm like, it's like, I don't even know if I should be playing it, but I really want to now.
I want it.
Like, I want to play this now. Cause it's like, yeah, it's like, I'm not old enough, but I'm not a coward. You know, I can do this. But truly terrifying game, dude. The Poltergeist room, I think, is one of the scariest things I saw as a kid, where the entire room is coming alive to kill you. You know, like chairs and tables and crap coming out. I'm like, and the music. Dude, even something as stupid as the pause button on this, when you pause it, it's like ding ding, you know, it's like got a psycho, like, kind of, you know, strings cue, like ding ding, you're like I mean, it's like everything about this is creepy as all get out, and I love it. So yes, Splatterhouse, man, do it. Give us both versions of it, because we deserve nothing less. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you. I'm Jimbo from Retro Game Lounge. I'm here all the time. What's your number 5, Willie?
Well, number 5 is actually my number 1, but the whole reason why I purchased a TurboGrafx 16 was because of Galaga 90.
Knew that was coming.
I absolutely love Galaga, and I played some of the sequels in the arcade, and I really like Galaga 90 a bunch.
That's a good game.
Oh, yeah. I play this on my TurboGrafx, what do they call the little handheld one?
Turbo Express.
Turbo Express. I play this so much in the Turbo Express that my wife actually confiscated my Turbo Express and locked it away in the lockbox. Because I was playing it in bed at night. She got tired She got tired of hearing that music. It was making her crazy. So she took my TurboGrafx Express away, which I still haven't gotten back yet. So I got to play this on my console TurboGrafx over in the corner over here. But I was at a game store. I was at a game store in Knoxville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. It's not there anymore. It was down off Kingston Pike. It was near a sushi place. I can't remember the name of the sushi place. But anyway, I'm rambling. I saw this game in the case, behind the glass. I was like, Galaga 90. What the heck is this? So I was talking to the guy. What's this for? Was this for TurboGrafx? He goes, oh, well, I got one right here. So he hooked it up for me. We plugged this game in, and I walked out of the store with the TurboGrafx 16 and this
dope.
Game. And
that's a good day, bro.
Yeah, and that started my love affair for the TurboGrafx. I've been picking up games here and there for it at different shows or different game stores I go to. And when I found my TurboGrafx Mini, that was awesome. I carried that thing all over the place, playing Galaga 90 most of the time.
Dude, good choice, man. I knew that one was coming from you, as I knew you're like hardcore Galaga nerd.
Oh yeah. So,
no, that's good. That is a very underrated game. Again, doesn't cost that much, for guys like us who want it. That's like a $30-ish game, and it's really good. It's like, you can upgrade your ship, dual ships, it's like everything that was cool about Galaga, and they just scaled it up.
Yep.
They just added layers to it. So it's funny you should end on a shooter, man. We're both kind of ending on the same note, because I'm going to end with a shooter too. And this is definitely my number one, without question. This is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best friggin' games ever made, let alone one of the best games on the system. All right. If you're going to do this one, I think you need to do its semi-related kissing cousin, and that would be Lords of Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, I think, other than Raiden, which is still the king of bullet hell shooters, Raiden is the granddaddy of them all. We'll give Raiden a pass because, again, it was on this console, but that was an arcade port. Lords of Thunder was only on consoles. It was never in the arcade. It was on this. It was on Sega CD. The Turbo version is definitely the better version. I know all the Sega sweatlords out there are going to be all butthurt about it and be like, no, the Sega's better. No, the music on the Turbo, I'm sorry, it's better. It just is. It's close. Like, graphically, they're very similar, but the music is what sells this game. It really is. It's nothing but shredding guitar metal. I use it all the time on Retro Game Hall. I use it as background music in a bunch of my videos just because it's so good. And it's, as far as I know, it's the only shooter, like, old school shoot 'em up, where it's basically an RPG. You get like different armor sets that you can use, like Earth, Wind, and Fire, like all the elemental armors, and there's different tactics you can use on different stages depending on which armor you have. There's a store, every time you go to a stage, where you can buy like upgrades, like increased armor, increased firepower, continues, lives, and it is ridiculously hard.
Oh, like, yeah.
This is hard, dude. Like, even for old school shoot 'em up freaking pro like me, this is legitimately hard. It really is. So, but if you're going to do Lords of Thunder, why wouldn't you throw in Gate of Thunder too? Even though technically they are in different universes. Gate of Thunder was one of the packing games on the Turbo Duo. It was that, Bonk's Adventure, and Bonk's Revenge, and the Secret Bomberman game, which was on the disc, which you had to put in a code to unlock. So you got 4 games with a console. 4 AAA titles. I still can't imagine why that console failed. That's such a bargain. So Gate of Thunder, it's, again, completely unrelated game, but a very good game. It's a side scroller. It's like a old school, like, space shoot 'em up kind of stuff, like Gradius, with again, amazing soundtrack. Like, the intro cutscene to that game and the music that goes with it, when you're playing it, you're like, I can't believe this isn't an arcade game. Like, the graphical quality, the music quality, and you're in awe of the fact that NEC/Hudson Soft could get this power out of this tiny little console that doesn't even have a real 16-bit processor, 16-bit graphics processor, but has an 8-bit core CPU. And you're like, I can't believe they were able to do this. Like, this is amazing. I mean, it's like the graphical detail, it's on par with like the Neo Geo CD, which is like an infinitely more powerful system. And you're like, this is incredible that they were able to do this. And you're just scratching your head like, how did this not like stomp ass on all the other competition? Like, this is light years beyond anything else that was out, you know? But so, yeah, if you're going to do Lords of Thunder, do Gate of Thunder 2. If I have to pick between the two, definitely Lords of Thunder. It's the better game, but Gate of Thunder ain't no slouch. Again, amazing freaking soundtrack. Like, you just all when I hear Gate of Thunder, all I can hear about is the freaking like radical slap bass, you know, intro, like boom, 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 boom,
yeah.
It's like this is so gnarly, and you're just looking at this like, I can't believe this is a game in the 16-bit era. This is amazing. And again, to give credit where credit is due, ladies and gentlemen, the humble TurboGrafx, the very first CD-based console, before Sega CD, before Neo Geo CD. This is when CD on a computer was brand new. This was cutting edge crap. This really was. This was so ahead of its time, which I think was ultimately that, and the fact that it didn't market it worth crap in the United States was way ahead of its time. Like the Dreamcast, it was just too much too soon. But it succeeded for years beyond its North American lifespan in Japan. And at one point, it was actually outselling Nintendo and Sega.
Mm-hmm.
So calling this a failure, I think, is a real utter disservice. Maybe here in the United States, it didn't perform as well as it should be. But the PC Engine, bro, the PC Engine is, I would say, borderline Nintendo level popularity in Japan as far as like a beloved old school console. They love it over there. Yes. They really do. It exceeded and it succeeded into the late 90s. You know, by the time the freaking PlayStation was coming out. So, Konami, don't just give us the North American titles, man. Show us a little PC Engine love. You know, give us some of the cool Japanese stuff. Give us Final Soldier. Give us Rondo of Blood, even though technically we didn't get it here. But you could play it on Turbo Duo, so this is not region locked. Dude, it's the Konami Castlevania game. That is basically the only Konami game on the entire console. Like, that's actually under the Konami brand. And it's the only Castlevania game. And it wasn't on any other platform at the time. It was adapted later. Why wouldn't you bring that to North America, where Castlevania is one of the most beloved franchises ever? Why wouldn't you do that?
Yep.
This is like the lost Castlevania game as far as North America is concerned. Like, why isn't that at the top of the list? Like, yeah, by the way, we're giving you Rondo of Blood. Yeah. Duh. Again, amazing soundtrack. The freaking, you know, just all I can think about is like the first stage, you know, the freaking slap bass, you know. Oh God, so beautiful. Just bless you, Konami. Bless you for doing this, man. Like, I was as surprised as Willie on this when I heard this announcement and somebody sent it to me. I was like,
oh yeah,
is this real? And then I go on the Twitch feed. I was like, holy crap, they're actually going to do this. Like, no way. Like, this little thing that I was like the only kid in my entire school that owned, let alone loved one. There's like the 9-year-old in me is like, oh my God, Santa's real, you know, like, and he works for Konami. This is amazing. So yes, I'm glad that the rest of the world is excited for this. I'm glad that Konami is getting off their ass and they're finally doing something with the beloved Hudson universe, which I think is so underrated. I mean, it really is. There's such a stable, you know, in that, and I'm just tickled to death that they're actually doing this. And while we're talking about Konami, as far as I'm concerned right now, man, Konami is on fire. I mean, this is the return of legit Konami. I mean, we got the Castlevania collection, we got the Contra collection, we got the Konami arcade collection with Gradius, Life Force, Salamander, and they gave us the Japanese versions too. They put all of that out in like the last 8 months. And on top of that, we are getting a brand new Contra game on a Nintendo console. Let me repeat that.
Yep. New
Contra game on Nintendo. I never thought those 5 words would ever be uttered again. I was like, dude, Konami won E3. Like, screw Nintendo, screw Microsoft, screw Sony. No, Konami, winner. As far as the retro stuff is concerned, no, dude, they crushed it. So, A+ from Jimbo, man. You guys are doing an awesome job. Keep it up. Give us more Castlevania. Give us more Contra. Give us more Hudson Soft. I want a new Bonk game. I want a new Adventure Island game. I want you to build a universe with Bomberman, Adventure Island, and Bonk. It needs to be a freaking shared universe, man. Come on. Do it.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what do you think, Willie? Final thoughts? Any other hopes, dreams, wishes? What do you want to see them add to this? Shoot for the moon, dude.
Well, I'm looking forward to see what its price point is going to be because they haven't really announced that yet. I'm curious to see how much it's going to be. If it's going to be on par with like the Super Nintendo Classic, it's like $80 or something like that, or if it's going to be more because of what it is, and what some of the specs are going to be. What kind of outputs? I imagine it's going to have HDMI output. That's a given.
Oh, it will.
Yeah,
you kind of have to these days.
And it's going to be awesome to play some TurboGrafx 16 games on HDMI screen. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. I get to play it downstairs on my beautiful 70-inch 4K. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what to say. Like, I'm getting a little misty. Like, dude, if there was any time that I was ever going to have a turboner, it would be then.
Right there. Boy.
Turboner to the max. Anyways, continue, Willie. Yes.
And don't know, they haven't announced a release date yet either.
No, I don't. I think later. I think they implied kind of later this year, maybe holiday.
That's what I'm thinking. I didn't see anything, but that would be my guess before Christmas. Hopefully before Black Friday or something like that. I bet this flies off the shelves.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. This is going to destroy, dude.
Oh, I hope Konami, make sure you make enough of these. Don't do the Nintendo crap.
Yeah.
Don't
inflate demand. Don't artificially inflate demand.
Yeah, don't do that stuff, man.
No. Like, make enough of them. Like, know your market. Just put them out there, dude. Like, these are going to sell. Like, they are. I mean, there's so much bang for the buck in this console. There are so many great franchises that even if you're not a turbo like me and Willie, it's still accessible. It really is. Like, non-turbos know who Bonk is. They know what Castlevania Rondo of Blood is. They know what Adventure Island is, since that's been on other platforms. They know what Bomberman is. Like, all of this stuff translates. It really does. So, like, just put it out there, man. See what happens. Like, take the gamble. Come on, Konami, we know you got the money. Just ship them, take the plunge, throw the freaking Hail Mary, and let's see what happens. Like, I guarantee you that they are going to be surprised at the amount of love for the little humble TurboGrafx. They're going to be like, why the hell didn't we do this before? I mean, it's like, we've been sitting on this thing for like 10 years. Like, let's do something with it.
Well, if they really want to know what kind of interest there is out there, how about do pre-orders?
Yes. Or, you know what? I'll follow you up on that. Put on their website and say, like, you know what? We want to know what you guys think. What games do you want to see on this? And make it put it on Facebook or whatever. Like, let us vote.
Yeah.
Let us, I mean, like, just make the entire Hudson catalog accessible. Like, if from these list of games, like, which ones would you want? Dude, I'll direct that on my social media and be like, guys, like, come on, let's get the votes in on this, man. Let's get the heavy hitters in on this. The stuff that we all want.
Oh, so,
on my social media, guys, I'm on a bunch of different TurboGrafx groups, like the TurboGrafx PC Engine Obey group. That's probably one of the biggest ones on Facebook. The majority of people on that seem to be excited for this. Like, there's some couple douche and snobbery stuff where there's like, it's just not gonna be the same. Guys, it's not replacing your TurboGrafx, okay? This is something else, and it's okay. It really is. It doesn't have to be either or. It can just be something else. Relax. So the majority of the people on there I've seen are behind this. Like, the legit turbos are like, dude, this is amazing. Like, everyone was questioning at first, like, is this real? And then, I'm dumping the Twitch feed in there. I'm like, yeah, that's the Konami rep live on Twitch announcing this. I'm pretty sure it's real. So the support from the core fan base, the diehards like us, seems to be there. I'm pretty sure that announcement video alone sold a lot of consoles for them, as it should. I mean, it's just, they put out the Neo Geo Mini, which that's obscure. They put out the Sega Genesis is coming, the two Nintendos. I'm like, TurboGrafx is next, buddy. They put out the PlayStation Mini, which completely tanked, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting into the obscure systems. Like, what's next? Like, is Atari going to do the Jaguar? Like, if you really want to go obscure, or the Amiga 32 CD,
or the Fairchild Mini. There we go.
Oh my God! I think we're going a little too deep. Like, I mean, I think the TurboGrafx is probably right on the line of obscure consoles. Like, you could probably do something beyond that, but while we're talking about minis, man, did you see as far as I know, this is only coming to Japan, but the Sega Classic that's coming out in Japan, they actually have little add-ons. So if you want to make the freaking 3-layer monstrosity, you can do that.
Yes, I saw that.
Why wouldn't you do that in America? Like, screw the fact that it failed over here. It's a beautiful failure, and we love it because it's stupid.
We like our power of power.
Yeah, we like our 3 power outlets where Sega had to put out their own power strip just to facilitate this thing, which is just insane. But I saw that, and I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of awesome. I mean, and the add-ons don't do anything. It's purely aesthetic, but I'm like, I would still buy them. Even if they were like $20, just because, dude, it's like a freaking tiny version of the biggest console ever made. This is it's like a baby kaiju, it's like baby Godzilla. He's like, ah! So yeah, like, I don't even know if it'll work on the Genesis Mini. Like, I would imagine the cartridge slot works because they're putting out like little replica cartridges for us. Like, if you want a Sonic cartridge to put in there just for looks, if the cartridge slot's open, I don't see why the Japanese stuff wouldn't work. I mean, this was all built to spec.
You do wonders with the dribble tool.
I hope it. I mean, I'll import it I'll go to freaking. What do you want to bet Play Asia is going to have it?
Oh, he'll have it.
Yeah, because that's where I get all my good stuff for the Switch. That's only in Japan. Like, dude, Play Asia is where it's at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, it's definitely a good time to be a retro nerd because it's like the rest of the world is finally saying, like, you know what, this stuff's actually kind of cool. We're all like, duh, hello. Like, it's like, first you guys jump on the comics bandwagon. Now you're jumping on the retro bandwagon. It's like, when are you guys going to learn that nerds are basically time travelers? We are ahead of everyone else. We're from the future, man. Like, you got to listen to us on this stuff. We're basically like clairvoyant. Like, dude, this is going to be cool someday. Yeah. We've been saying that for years. Like, I've been saying the Turbo was awesome since I was 10. So I'm glad the rest of the world finally listened. Thanks, rest of the world.
Awesome. So,
thanks. Thank you, Konami.
Yeah, thank you, Konami.
Thank you
very much. So thanks, everyone, for watching our premiere episode of Slap, the Super Lounge. Yeah, Slap, Super Lounge Arcade Podcast. Hopefully we'll be doing more of these, and if you have ideas of what kind of retro topics you'd like for us to talk about, hit up Jimbo at the Retro Game Lounge. Just head over to his Facebook page or whatever and put in like #slap and then what you want to talk about, or head over to my page, Arcade USA, and do the same thing, #slap and what retro topic you'd like for us to talk about on the next episode.
Yes.
So until next time, everyone, have a great retro evening.
And go slap someone.
Yeah, slap them silly.